Hey guys, Matters That Matter here, talking about the Index Adeptus Mechanicus review series that I've been doing. Today we're going to be covering the best and worst of units from this index. I feel very confident in saying that because we're talking about Castellan robots, the Datasmith, and servitors. Let's go ahead and jump right in with possibly the worst unit in the game. And that is servitors. I have no idea why they nerfed these little guys so much. Before, how they used to act was they would ride around with a tech priest engineer, and for every one in the unit that he had with him with a servo arm, it made him easier. It made it easier for him to repair hull points on vehicles. They no longer have that trait. Now they're just more stuff that can shoot, more stuff that can act in melee. Here's the thing though, they have a movement of 5, they hit on a 5 up in shooting and melee, they're strength 3, toughness 3, 1 wound apiece, leadership 6, and a save of a 4 up. It contains 4 servitors, each servitor is armed with a servo arm, and they are counted as an elite choice, with a 4 for their power level. Now, the problem is not so much that, I didn't want these units to be hitting on a 2-up or anything like that. The problem is how much they cost. Now, they're 4 points a model, and I know what you're thinking, that's not bad, that's super cheap. I would agree with you, except they all start with servo arms, which are 12 points a model, and only 2 of the 4-man unit can actually replace their servo arms. They can replace it with a heavy bolter, a multi-melta, plasma cannon, and that's it. So, if we were just bringing heavy bolters, if we were just bringing multi-meltas or plasma cannons, that would be great. But unfortunately 2 of them still have to have the servo arm. Here's what the servo arm does. It's of course a melee weapon, strength times 2, so now you're hitting at strength 6, which is lackluster to say the least, for a times 2 weapon. It has an AP of -2, so that's nice, and a damage of a flat 3. So if for some reason you do bring these guys in a fluffy list or something, and they do get tied up in combat with something big, they could actually, do something to it, but it's highly unlikely because it's only strength 6 and they're hitting on a 5 up. Their servo arm can only be used to make 1 attack, which that's fine because they only have 1 attack. Each time the model fights, you must subtract 1 from the hit roll, so now you're hitting on a 6 up. These servo arms, for how much they cost, are gonna do absolutely nothing. Plasma cannon and multi-melta and heavy bolter I'm not going to go over because if you're a 40k player, you know what they do. There's no difference, there's no mechanicum, souped up version, it's the same as all the rest. They have Canticles of the Omnissiah, which is nice because then at least you could be hitting at strength 7 with the servo arms, or re-rolling 1s, something along those lines. And strength 7 is the average toughness of light tanks such as dune crawlers, predators, rhinos, things like that. They also have the special rule Mind Lock. Servitors may improve both their weapon and ballistic skill to a 4 up and their leadership to 9 whilst they are within 6 inches of friendly tech priest. Now, that's great. Now you're hitting on a 4 up in shooting and a 5 up in close combat with a servo arm, which it's nice because, well, you're not hitting on a 4 up, you're hitting on a 5 up because of the -1, so it's usable at that point. The thing that you have to consider is what is considered a tech priest, and I'll skim over that just real quick. The cybernetic datasmith, which we will be talking about shortly, is a tech priest. The tech priest engineer is a tech priest. The tech priest Dominus is a tech priest, and Belisarius Call is a tech priest. And I believe that is all of the units in the game that are tech priest. Possibly the tech marine might be as well, but I don't believe so. Anyways, yeah, they're just not good for their points. If they were a lot cheaper, or if they had a rule where they helped Tech Priest repair stuff, that would be great, but they don't, so that's kind of what we're stuck with. Anyways, moving on to one of the best units in the game, Castellan robots. These guys are power level 12 and a heavy support choice. They can come in units of 2 to 6 models. Now the noticeable change from 7th to 8th edition is that the cybernetic datasmith is no longer an integrated part of the unit, so you could field these guys or field the datasmith on their own. Which is nice because it adds some options to the index. So let's go ahead and dive right in. They're armed base with Castellan Fist and an Incendine Combustor. Now, Castellan Fist are, of course, melee. They are strength +4, AP -3, and a damage of 3. So they're not a slouch. In melee, that'll put them at strength 10. Actually, excuse me, I didn't go over their stat line. They have a movement of 8, so they're moving at pretty average walker/tank speed. A lot faster than they were last edition. Weapon skill and ballistic skill of 4 up, which it's not great, but with how many shots and attacks they put out, and the strength of the shots and attacks they put out, it'll do the job. They are, like I said before, strength 6, toughness 7, wounds, they have 6 wounds, 3 attacks apiece, leadership 10, and a save of a 3 up. These guys are really just little dune crawlers, a more anti-infantry dune crawler. So the biggest downside going from 7th to 8th is they lose the Smash special role because they used to be monstrous creatures. Now they're vehicles. So, how that worked in 7th is their base melee attack without any weapons was considered AP2, or you could trade in all their attacks to make one strength 10 AP1 attack. So, you've lost that AP2 if you have the more shooty variant of Castellans, but now you just play them a little bit differently and they work quite well. So let's get into that. Like I said before, Castellan Fist are strength 10, AP -3, damage of 3, so you probably will be charging, and whatever you charge is going to be dead. I can almost guarantee it. With that stat line, 2 of them in a unit, minimum. I personally field them in units of 4. So, yeah. Heavy Phosphor Blaster, which they can replace their fist with, or they can replace their Incendine Combustor with. If they replace their fist, they replace their fist with 2 of them. And if they replace the Incendine Combustor, they get 1. They can replace the fist and the Incendine Combustor, I should say, as well. So, Heavy Phosphor Blaster is range 36, so if you move up to the midfield, which is really where these guys should be, you will hit just about everything in the board. They're heavy 3, so if you just replace the fist, you're getting 6 shots per model. Strength 6, AP -2, damage of 1. Units attacked by this weapon do not gain the bonus for being in cover. So, you know, if you have Space Marines that are getting a 2 up in cover, now they're not -2, now they're at a 5 up. You're slamming into them at strength 6. You're just wiping guardsmen off the map. They really are great for this. If you take the Heavy Phosphor Blaster on top as well, you're putting out 9 shots per model. So you gotta think that's 36 shots in a 4-man unit. But how I prefer to run them is with the 2 Heavy Phosphor Blaster Fist, and then the Incendine Combustor on top. And here's why. It was previously a Torrent Flamer, now it is a 12-inch Heavy Flamer. So Heavy D6, Strength 5, AP -1, damage of 1. Weapon automatically hits the target. Why I like this so much better than taking a top-mounted heavy phosphor blaster is these guys are only hitting on a 4-up. Plus, if I have the 2 shooty fist, I don't want them tied up in combat. These guys are a big part of the army, they're expensive, but they're well worth it. So, if I get charged, unless the person is making a 12-inch charge, they need, boxcars, this weapon is in range. So, that's the way I run them, 46 Overwatch shots that automatically hit at strength 5, AP -1, damage of 1, and always in range, because it's not the normal flamer 8-inch range, it's 12-inch. So it really is a nice boost when you think about it. And these things get even better as we talk about their special rules. He has Canticles of the Omnissiah, of course, which means that if you pop Shroud Psalm turn 1, these guys are rocking a 2-up armor save. Repulsor Grid, this unit has a 5-up invuln save against shooting attacks. In addition, each time you roll a 6-up for the Repulsor Grid's invulnerable saving throw, this unit, the unit that made the attack suffers a mortal wound. So, something that I've kind of gotten in the habit of doing, if someone's just firing bolters into me, I'll take my 5-up invuln save, because they're probably not going to kill one, because it's T7 and they maybe did 3 wounds, and I have a chance of doing a mortal wound back, and we'll talk about that even more here in just a minute, because they have the Battle Protocol special rule. When this unit is set up, the Aegis Protocol, which we'll talk about just in a moment, is in effect. You can attempt to change the Battle Protocol at the start of your movement phase if there is a friendly Forge World Cybernetica Datasmith within 6 inches. To do so, roll a d6. On a 2+, the attempt is successful, and you may select one of the 3 battle protocols to take effect at the start of the next battle round. Otherwise, the attempt fails, and the unit's protocol remains in effect. So, you start the game with Aegis Protocol. Let's go ahead and go over what that does. Whilst the battle protocol is in effect, you add 1 to any armor and invulnerable saving throws you make for models in this unit. So, that means that how I normally field these guys, they move up to midfield, I change their battle protocols, which will take effect at the top of next turn, and they have a 1-up armor save and a 4-up invuln save. Now you may be thinking, 1-up, that's crazy. Not, well, 1-up when you pop Shroud Psalm, because they're pushed to a 2-up by their battle protocol, and then a 1-up by the Shroud Psalm effect. So, 1s always fail, but if AP -1 shoots you, you're still getting a 2-up. So that's what you gotta remember. And also, you're getting a 4-up invuln now, because your 5-up goes to a 4-up, and because of the way modifiers work in 8th edition, instead of just causing mortal wounds on a 6-up, on 5s and 6s, it causes mortal wounds now, which is insanely good. So if you have guardsmen, special or heavy weapons teams shooting at you, or devastators shooting at you with las cannons, something of that nature, and you make that 5 or 6 on your 4-up, which you're more than likely to, you're causing mortal wounds to them now. There's 2 other protocols. Let's go over that real quick. Conqueror Protocol. Whilst this battle protocol is in effect, this unit cannot shoot, but it can fight twice in each fight phase instead of only once. So, if you're running the Fist, this can be super useful. Also, if you're in combat with a big blob unit that's just trying to tie you up, and they keep getting you in combat, or they're wearing you down, you can pop this, take care of them real quick, get back to shooting, or just run up to a Baneblade, something like that, with a Fist, and just beat the snot out of it. The protocol that I use the most, though, is the Protector Protocol. Whilst this battle protocol is in effect, this unit cannot move or charge, but can shoot twice in each of your shooting phases, and shoot twice when firing Overwatch. So, what that means is, let's say you have first turn. You roll a 2 up at the start of the movement phase. I would use a command point if I failed this. Say next turn the Protector Protocol is in effect. You move up 8 inches to the midfield, and you get right up into where your enemy wants to move through. Get nice line of sight. Now, you stand there, you fire off your first turn shots, goes to their turn, they shoot at you, you have a 1-up armor save and a 4-up invuln that hurts them when they shoot at you. At the top of your next turn, you now can't move, but you're shooting twice in the shooting phase and Overwatch. I run 4 of them. To put that in perspective, on Overwatch, you are firing 8d6 auto hits from your heavy flamer. That's 12-inch range. And let's see, 6, 12, 24, 48 shots from the heavy phosphor blasters on Overwatch and in the shooting phase. So I was recently playing a game against orcs. I had burner boys, a 20-man boys squad, and a orc truck charge me all in one turn, and none of them survived Overwatch. They were all at full strength, and this unit just annihilated them. This is an amazing unit. The biggest thing is your first turn. You have to get them up to the midfield, where they have good line of sight, put the rest of your army behind them, and just let them clear out any light vehicles or kind of elite infantry such as Space Marines. Because it is now considered a vehicle, this model, when this model is reduced to 0 wounds, roll a d6. On a 6, it explodes. Each unit within 3 inches suffers d3 mortal wounds. So it's really the smallest explosion that you can get. Don't worry about it. These guys are basically never going to explode because of the next thing that I'm going to talk about. On top of having a 2-up, really 1-up for the first turn armor save and a 4-up invuln that can hurt your opponent, you will most likely be bringing a Cybernetica Datasmith with you. Let's go over his stat line real quick. Movement of 6, weapon skill of 3 up, ballistic skill of 3 up, strength 4, toughness 4, 4 wounds, 2 attacks, leadership 8, save of a 2+. Single model, armed with a power fist and gamma pistol. So, this is the guy that lets you change your battle protocols if you're within 6 inches. So, he moves 2 inches less than the robots, but for the first 3 turns, if you start them base to base, you'll be able to change their protocols. Although you're probably only going to need it to change turn 1. But, things can happen. He's armed with a gamma pistol, which is a 12-inch range, pistol 1, strength 6, AP -3, damage of 2. You can reroll failed to wound rolls for this weapon when attacking a keyword vehicle. So it has a nasty little bite there if you're in combat with something like Terminators or a Hellbrute or, I don't know, Dreadnought, things like that. He can really put the hurt on him with that, especially with a 3-up ballistic skill is pretty good. And a power fist. Strength times 2, AP -3, damage of d3, you must subtract 1 from the hit roll. So he's then hitting on a 4-up, but he has 2 attacks, and he's hitting at strength 8, AP -3, so he can definitely do some work in close combat, especially with a pistol type weapon, which you can now fire in close combat. He has special rules, Canticles of the Omnissiah, Master of Machines, which is at the end of your movement phase, this model can repair a single friendly Castellan robot within 3 inches. The model regains d3 lost wounds. A model may not be the target of the Master Machine's ability more than once per turn, regardless of the source. And he has a Refractor Field, which has a 5-up invuln save. He, of course, is a keyword Forge World, just as the Castellan robots are, meaning you can take them with any Adeptus Mechanicus army. Now, this is really interesting, because this guy takes a unit that is T7 with 6 wounds, 2-up armor save, really 1-up on the first turn, 4-up invuln, and then he can just repair D3 wounds per turn. That is insanely good. So he's a character as well, if I didn't mention it, so he can't be shot at, and he just sits behind your robots, changing out their protocols, repairing them each turn. And if something gets in close, and you just need to finish it off real quick, he can sprint up with that Power Fist and Gamma Pistol and lay waste to them. His Master of Machines ability can only affect Castellan robots, but that's the only reason why you're going to bring this guy in your army is if you're bringing Castellan robots. So, really a great unit. If I didn't mention it, he is an elite. The Castellan robots are heavy support. He's 3 power level, and they are 12 power level for 2 of them to start out with. Datasmith is a single model, and he's at 52 points, so he's the exact same amount of points as a Tech Priest Engine Seer, for really just an all-around better unit. But the Tech Priest Engine Seer is brought for something else, and I wouldn't call a bad unit by any stretch of the imagination. But yeah, if you want to see that topic, go ahead and refer back to my previous